In case you haven't noticed, there has been a lot of online chatter about drag queen story times, especially in Victoria, because there is an event planned for May 19th at the Monash Library. And tonight there is a council meeting that hundreds of people are going to, residents are going to voice their concerns about this sort of entertainment for 1 to 6 year olds in public places. Now, since this topic has really come to the forefront, a lot of questions have come up, and I'm going to answer 3 really, really quick questions, and I'm going to be able to use this and just post it every time people say something like this, because I think there's been some miscommunication about why this is important to us and why it actually matters. So the first question is, why is the freedom movement pivoting to being anti-LGBT? Why do you hate trans people, blah, blah, blah? Actually, it's got nothing to do with the individuals. It's got nothing to do with what LGBT people do in their private time or what trans people do in their private time. If you want to make a living doing drag queen entertainment, that's totally your right. And no one should have anything to say about that. The reason why we have an issue with it is specifically because, especially council properties, council venues, that's actually paid for by us, the taxpayers, and through land tax and things like that. So when you have an event at a public venue, then it is open for opinion. It is open for protest and things like that. We're not going out of our way to cause trouble at private venues. Council buildings and venues are paid for by the residents of that council. They have every right to have an opinion about it. Now, the drag queen story time is also free, which means that the council is paying the entertainer for that entertainment as well and hosting it at an event venue paid for by the taxpayers. So it's totally open for discussion. Now, the second question is, aren't you all about freedom? Just don't take your kids there. Why do you even care? That is actually a really fair point. Now, freedom is that privately you can do whatever you want. If parents really desperately want to entertain their children with drag queens, that is absolutely their right. So they can pay for it themselves, they can hire a private venue, and they can go for their lives. They can invite other families to come with them. No one should and can have anything to say about that. Like I said, it's all about the fact that it's at a public place, it is funded by the taxpayers. So we are all about freedom. And, we were fighting for children's freedom during the lockdowns when they couldn't go to school. We were fighting to try and get the kids back to school. Now we're fighting to help children not be traumatized by something that they shouldn't be exposed to at such a young age. And that's just my opinion, that they shouldn't be exposed to that. But as a parent, if you want to expose your children, go for it, but pay for it yourself and do it privately. Do not do it at a public library where other people can walk in and be exposed to something that they don't really want to be exposed to. Now, the third question is, drag queens aren't grooming kids or indoctrinating kids. They're just reading books. What's the big deal? Obviously, if they were reading a harmless book and they were dressed as a drag queen, it's actually not the worst thing in the world. But it's the content of the books is actually not innocent at all. And you don't know what kind of traumatic experience that could be for a 2-year-old to hear stories and concepts that don't make any sense to them. It's kind of like, if you disagree with my politics, right, you're allowed to do that, right? But if I was then asking the taxpayers to pay for me to go and indoctrinate your children with my political views, how would you feel about that? It is grooming. It is indoctrinating, because it is such an intense topic that children should not be exposed to. And being in a public space, I'm allowed to have that opinion because I, as a taxpayer, in theory, am paying for all of that. Imagine if you were paying for me to drive around Australia and speak at public venues about right politics or about conservatism or whatever like that. You would have a lot to say about that. So us having an opinion about this is not crazy at all. And it is not about hate whatsoever. In fact, we love children, and whether you're a parent or not, you are allowed to have an opinion on this. And we will keep pushing back until these drag queens stop trying to entertain children. Now, the drag queen who's actually entertaining for the 19th of May won an Adult Entertainment Award 2 years ago. So the fact that people are a bit concerned about this person now reading books to 1-year-olds in libraries, it's really not crazy at all that they're at least concerned. And the council should at least address these questions. And we're going to keep pushing back at these events because they're not appropriate, and we don't endorse it or condone it whatsoever. But have a private party, do what you want. No one cares what you do in your own house. No one cares how you dress or who you have relationships with. It's not personal. It's all about the children. So I wanted to clear all that up. And to those of you that are going at 6 p.m. tonight in Glen Waverley, I'll put the information in the description. Well done to you, and I'm sure it's going to be peaceful and beautiful, and I'm sure the police are going to protect you from the counter protesters, and I understand what your mission is, and good on you for getting out and doing that, and we'll see you at the next council meeting. Bye.